Brian Sobel, let's go back to Reince Priebus losing his job as chief of staff. Why make the move now?
Because I think the White House is in crisis, and I think with all of these people coming and going and an inconsistent message, it was time to shake it up. And John Kelly, a Marine four-star general, if President Trump will allow him to do the job, can instill discipline in the White House.
Okay, it's been a very busy week. Let's go over it. White House Press Secretary Sean Spicer leaves on Monday.
Do we even remember that?
I know, that's just on Monday. In comes Anthony Scaramucci. Then we have Attorney General Jeff Sessions under fire on Tuesday. He says he's staying on. GOP health care bill fails last night. Now today we have the General Jeff Kelly coming in as the new White House Chief of Staff. How significant is it that the president is reaching to a military man to help try to end some of the chaos in the White House?
Well, it's happened in American history during the chaos, frankly, not to draw a direct comparison, during the chaos of the Nixon White House, he turned to Alexander Haig, a four-star general. People turn to these generals because they understand how to run a system and to do it with discipline. And John Kelly has a reputation for doing that. And more about him is that he was an aide to somebody like Leon Panetta and other people. He was a liaison to Congress as a Marine Corps officer. He knows Washington, D.C., so he's going to be a good selection, but you got to get along with the boss.
A strong chief of staff is so important for an administration, especially a new administration. For those who don't know, what exactly does the chief of staff do? What are his responsibilities?
A total gatekeeper. What happens in a White House is everybody wants to get in. Everybody has to have FaceTime with the president. Somebody has to select the priorities. And who is the priority that day? You have to select a message for the day. You have to work on certain things that you and the president have agreed on, and so you keep all the extraneous stuff out of the office while the president is working on that, making key phone calls. If all you're doing is looking up Frank all the time and somebody else is wandering through with some new initiative, it's not working right. And so a good chief of staff is a great gatekeeper, and that's what their job is.
You mentioned his distinguished career. General Kelly has great reputation. It's hard to find anyone who really has anything bad to say about him. He's versed well in Washington, comfortable on both sides of the aisle. How will his distinguished military career, what do you think is most key in helping him serve in this new role?
Well, I think what he's going to do is he's going to assess the team that's in the White House and begin taking names, essentially. You know, here's who I'm going to accept coming around and who I won't. And he's going to instill this military discipline that's important. And by the way, you notice Donald Trump has a number of military types around him, so he must find some semblance of order in what they do.
Brian, last question very quickly. Can General Kelly stand up to President Trump? Because a good chief of staff has to be able to tell the president things that the president may not want to hear.
I think this person can, and he's a lot like Tillerson. Tillerson, very accomplished in his own world. General Kelly, very accomplished in his own world, won't put up with a lot of stuff.
And President Trump is said to have admired him for a long time and had his eye on him for a long time and been considering him for this job for a while.
Well, he's been running Homeland Security. By all accounts, he's been doing a great job there. He's being brought over to do the same sort of thing, Julie, at the White House that he did at the Department of Homeland Security.
And look what a dramatic difference the narrative has changed in just a few hours, from a major defeat in health care to now changing. Maybe this is better for the Trump team that it's not focusing on the big failure.
Into the very late hours, we were watching healthcare, and all of a sudden today, now, just a few hours later, we're talking about a new chief of staff.
And we'll talk more about the healthcare when we have you back at 6.
Absolutely.
Brian, thank you.
You're welcome.